On the morning of August 1st, 1943, more than 170 American B-24 Liberator bombers lifted off from airfields in North Africa. Their destination was over 2,000 kilometers away. Their mission was simple in theory, but nearly impossible in practice: destroy the oil refineries at Ploiești, Romania, the industrial heart of Nazi Germany's fuel supply. The attack would become one of the boldest and bloodiest bombing missions of World War II. This was Operation Tidal Wave. Why Ploiești was so important? By 1943, Germany's war machine depended heavily on oil. Tanks, aircraft, trucks, and submarines all required enormous amounts of fuel. A large portion of that fuel came from the massive oil fields and refineries around Ploiești in Romania. Some estimates suggested that these refineries supplied roughly 1/3 of Germany's petroleum needs. American planners believed that destroying them could cripple Germany's ability to continue the war. But there was one problem: everyone knew how valuable Ploiești was. That meant it was one of the most heavily defended industrial targets in Europe. Planning the mission, the United States Army Air Forces created an ambitious plan. Instead of bombing from high altitude, the bombers would fly only a few hundred feet above the ground. Flying low would help avoid enemy radar and increase bombing accuracy. However, it also meant flying directly into anti-aircraft guns, power lines, smoke, and enemy fighters. The mission required months of preparation. Pilots practiced low-level flying over the deserts of Libya. Every crew knew the mission would be extremely dangerous, yet volunteers continued preparing for the attack. The long flight before sunrise. 177 B-24 Liberators departed from Libya. The formation stretched for miles across the Mediterranean Sea. The crews flew in silence as they crossed the sea and entered southeastern Europe. After several hours, the bombers approached Romania. Everything depended on precise navigation, but then disaster struck. One group of bombers made a navigation error and turned toward the wrong checkpoint. The carefully planned attack formation began to fall apart. Instead of arriving together, the bombers approached the target in scattered groups. The element of surprise was rapidly disappearing. Flying into Hellas, the bombers reached Ploiești. German and Romanian defenders were ready. Anti-aircraft guns opened fire from rooftops, fields, factories, and hidden positions. Massive black clouds of smoke covered the city. Some defenders had even disguised anti-aircraft guns as ordinary farm buildings. The bombers flew so low that some crews reported seeing workers running through the streets. Several aircraft struck factory chimneys, radio towers, or power lines. Others exploded after taking direct hits from anti-aircraft shells. German fighter aircraft quickly joined the battle. The sky became complete chaos. Despite the intense resistance, many bomber crews pressed forward. They released their bombs directly over the refineries before attempting to escape. Some aircraft were burning as they flew away. Others never made it out. The cost. The mission came at an enormous price. Out of the 127 bombers that departed, more than 50 were lost. Hundreds of others returned heavily damaged. More than 300 American airmen were killed, while hundreds more were wounded or captured. Several crews displayed extraordinary bravery. 5 medals of honor were awarded for actions during Operation Tidal Wave, making it one of the most highly decorated air missions of World War II. Many pilots refused to abandon wounded crew members. Even while their aircraft were on fire, others continued bombing after suffering catastrophic damage. Did the mission succeed? The attack caused significant destruction. Several refineries burned for days. Oil production temporarily dropped. However, German repair teams worked around the clock. Within weeks, much of the damage had been repaired. Fuel production recovered faster than Allied planners had expected. Strategically, Operation Tidal Wave failed to permanently crippled Germany's oil supply, but the courage displayed by the air crews became legendary. Military historians still study the mission today as one of the most daring bombing operations ever. Attempted. Legacy Operation Tidal Wave demonstrated both the incredible bravery of Allied bomber crews and the enormous risks of low-level, strategic bombing. The mission showed that even the most carefully planned operations could unravel because of navigation errors, unexpected resistance, and the chaos of combat. Although it did not achieve its long-term objective, it remains one of the most remarkable air operations in military history. The skies over Ploiești became a symbol of courage, sacrifice, and determination. More than 80 years later, Operation Tidal Wave is still remembered as one of the most dangerous bombing missions ever flown. Outro. If you enjoyed this story of one of World War II's most daring air raids, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next history documentary.